Call the by-board to order for Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, suspending certain provision of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, as long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID number 854-0032-4335 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at ATM at Ayer.MA.US or 978-772-8220 extension 100 prior to the meeting. All right, excellent. Welcome, everyone. Thank you. It's like a fairly short agenda today, though we do have some good substance to get through with those few items. The first one we have is review and approval of the previous meeting minutes for March 28th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, please.
I second that.
Excellent. Thank you. Roll call the vote. Ms. Antonellis.
Aye.
Ms. Cooper.
Aye.
Mr. Pombriant.
Aye.
And chair says aye. Minutes are approved. All right. Next item on the agenda is discussion on the budget book for town meeting.
So, Mr. Chair, I'll turn it over to, I know that Carly and Barbara have been working on that. So Carly, why don't you give us an update, please?
Yep, so what we've done, and Barbara will be joining just any second now. I just talked to her on the phone. They're just compiling the last of the numbers between Barbara and Amanda, Carrie, and then I should have everything updated. Hopefully my goal is to have it done by Thursday, and then we can get it out, posted online by Thursday, Friday at the latest. But and if people need a copy of the budget book, they can call or email. We're happy to mail it to them if they can't access the web.
Excellent. Thank you. Follow-up question on that. How are we doing on the, trying to remember the name of the online service that we had signed up for? Like, I mean, it feels like 5 lifetimes ago at this point.
We actually
ClearGov.
ClearGov. We actually have a Zoom meeting with scheduled them, Barbara and I, today at 3:30.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Because I know the manner in which we're doing the budget book is heavily manual and very involved. So thank you to everyone for pulling that together. It's greatly appreciated.
And Scott, if I could just add, I know in speaking with Barbara and Carrie and Carly, so the goal is they have a meeting today. I know that Barbara's made it clear to them that we're at a point that we either are going to go operational or we're not. And I don't mean that to be cute, meaning we're really pushing to get this finally in place. And I think we're finally there. So.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for the budget book? No. Okay.
Nope,
excellent.
I think that covered it. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Carrie.
All right. Thank you. Next item is discussion on budget presentation for town meeting. So we have town meeting coming up in less than 2 weeks on the 24th of April.
So Mr. Chair, so on the budget presentation, and I was hoping there'd be somebody from the FinCom here this afternoon. So as everybody knows, everything was approved on Tuesday, the 4th. So the first thing is the articles of the day are going to start on Friday. So Cindy, every day there'll be 2 or 3 articles featured with the appropriate links to the town meeting warrant and any supporting documents, as we've done every year. We're also going to review the budget page to make sure everything is on there. As far as the budget presentation, and wanted to talk with folks today about that. We're talking about the presentation, obviously, for town meeting for Article 3. In the past, we've done different approaches to this presentation. Again, the goal is to provide the town meeting, in addition to the warrant, in addition to the budget book and other materials, is to provide a brief presentation for town meeting as a whole, providing sort of a general overview of, in this case, the FY24 budget. And in the past, we've split it up in the sense that it's varied from year to year. I've done a portion of it. Sometimes I've done all of it. Sometimes I've done a portion of it. Scott has done a portion of it. I think sometimes Scott did most of it. Sometimes in the past, Lisa did piece of it. So I looked back. Generally, we had 10 slides. So of course, again, the other challenge is time and what have you on the presentation. So we generally had a slide on the budget strengths. We had a second slide on the balanced budget that visually shows, how the revenues, expenditures, and how we get to the balanced budget. We had revenue and expenditures slide. Then we had a graph visually showing the omnibus revenue. And we had another slide showing omnibus revenue movement, whether revenue went up or down or level. We had a slide on omnibus expenses. Then we had, and this is actually requested by a resident again recently at a meeting, we have a pie graph with the operating expenses by category, public safety, general government, so forth. We've had a slide on new personnel, which for this budget, there's the administrative sergeant and there's the increase of the part-time to full-time assistant building inspector code enforcement position. Then we had a slide on the budget drivers showing the major things driving the budget, which as we've covered have been health insurance, supplies and energy, and the overall inflation story. And then our 10th slide, we did have a slide that just touched upon the school assessments. So I guess my question for the group, we can stick with that same sort of outline. Is there something that we should add or something that maybe we should take out? Again, I think the goal is for the presentation, about 10 to 15 minutes. And the other piece I asked, Mr. Chair, I asked of the FinCom chair is if at this time in the presentation that the FinCom wanted to report anything out on their efforts of reviewing the budget.
Yeah, I would say on the FinCom side of things, I would almost urge them to do something, even if it's 1 or 2 slides, just since they are newer. That way, I don't know, I think it provides them with a more of an independent voice on the process or the review. As for the presentation itself, I think I'm always a believer of trying to get to less being more if possible. So I would try, I think maxing it around 8 to 10 minutes if we can do that. When I was doing the finance committee presentations in the past, because Lisa would do the detailed presentation, I think I was shooting for 5 or 6 pages, really a breakdown, kind of what our revenue is, what percentage it's up, if there's a trend that we can share, just so people can see how that's moving over, say, the last 5 years. With the budget, just like an overall snapshot, very similar to what we've done for the budget presentations, the overall snapshot of the budget, what the main drivers are, and then utilize that slide to kind of get into the new position for the administrative sergeant, and also expanding the building inspector to full-time. And then a piece on or a slide on like the supplemental expenses, like the school budgets and capital.
Okay.
Scott, to you, are you still planning on doing the capital
I can
slides?
put something together for capital, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great, Scott, if you could do
All
the
right.
capital snapshot. And we know, for example, that a couple things. We know that the two debt exclusion articles will have presentations, brief presentations on them. And we'll also have loaded a lot of the images and what have you for the different capital too. But I think for this, if you would take on doing this capital snapshot, that would be great.
Yeah, and honestly, I'll even offer, I could probably do more. I know everyone there is super busy. I could probably carve out a few hours that later this week or next week to put a rough, like a high level together, at least in the presentation format.
Great.
The problem
And
is I
then-
don't follow the budget as quickly as I used to before, so I don't have like a 5-year trend readily available like I used to. I was
And
kind of
then-
slacking in my old age. Sorry.
I just get everybody's sort of feedback too. Generally, what I think would work best, and this is this moderator's first annual, is, you know, the Article 3, the omnibus is read, it's moved and seconded. I think after it's moved and seconded, then we should do the presentation and then go to, you know, go through the lines as the moderator does. I mean, again, it's the purview of the moderator. It's his meeting, but I just think that works maybe best. Rather, I know a couple times it was, the article was moved and seconded, and then they went through all the lines, and then we did the presentation. I just think,
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, I think we should plan, I mean, anything's possible, plan to ideally do the presentation first and then go through the lines. And I think if the moderator also explains that at that article for town meeting, that gets everybody on the same page.
Okay.
Because we know there's going to be questions, points and comments, you know, on specific items, but this is to just give a overview of the high level factors of the FY24 budget.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I think coordinating with the moderator ahead of time would be key. So I think last year we went through, as you pointed out, we went through all the line items and then had the presentation as questions were coming out.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we'll speak to the moderator about the order. Scott, you volunteered to do the capital snapshot. We'll get the other items together, and I will, like I said, I will get in touch with Kurt again, and I agree they should have something, in my opinion, they should have something, you know, independent, but this would be the time to do it.
Okay. Yeah, and also offer to Kurt, if he has any questions for me, just on what the committee has done in the past, he's welcome to reach out to me regarding that.
Okay.
All right. Do we have a deadline of when we want to have the presentation pulled together? In the
So,
middle of next week?
yeah, that would be, why don't we say by the 20th? Because everything's due to Cindy by the 21st. So I think we can get it.
Okay, so that's Thursday, next Thursday. All right, that works.
And then I just offer, let me ask this. So in previous years and last year, the last slide, we had a slide that just showed the school assessments, because I think our feeling last year, you know, both are a significant portion of the overall. Do we keep that? Because I know that the moderator has been having his office hours on Tuesday, and I know a particular few people have asked that there should be a presentation by each of the schools on the budget. Now, we all know that the superintendents and or representatives are at every town meeting to answer any questions. Should we keep that slide, or should I advise them to be, I don't know what the moderator's position is on it, but I should advise them maybe to be prepared with like a couple slides just on the budget in case it happens.
I think just a single slide showing the year-over-year increase for each of the school assessments.
Okay.
And then just, stating that there's, representatives from the school districts and also the school committees that can answer any questions in detail.
Okay. Mr. Chair, that's all from my point. That this has been helpful. That's what I had.
Excellent. Thank you. Anything else for the budget presentation for town meeting?
Nope,
No?
I
Okay.
think we covered it.
Excellent. So moving on to number 5 on the agenda, new business. Is there any new business that was not on the agenda or new business for future meetings? I have iPhone with a hand up.
Sorry, one of these days I'll label my iPhone as
That's
Paul.
fine. I assumed it was you. How are you
Thank
today?
you. Well, thank you for letting me chime in one more time. It's really not new business, but I didn't see anywhere else on the agenda to bring it up. But we've talked a couple of times about the 4th of July revolving fund. And I thank you, Scott, for coming up with the solution of putting, I think it was $10,000 into the budget line item for the 4th of July. And that's all well and good.
Mhm.
And then it has been bothering me since we met, listen to me, since you all met last, and let me chime in. The event this year is in FY 2023. It's the next to the last weekend in June. So it really doesn't matter. I don't mean to say it that way. The money appropriated for 2024 can't be used in 2023 anyway. And that's what town council said. So I throw that out there so that maybe our brilliant financial minds can come up with a game plan. If I understand municipal financing correctly, 2023 bills would have to be approved at special town meeting in October, just like we're doing next couple weeks for 2022 bills. So I just throw that out there. I don't know if any of you knew that or realized that, but that is what was bothering me, and I couldn't think of it the last time you all met. So if there's any possibility of putting some money in the existing revolving fund for use in 2023, I think it would be ideal. They haven't raised a lot of money from what I've read. I don't have access to anything, as you all know, but I don't know. I'd hate to see the thing not pull off well. And I'm not saying it won't, but we all know how much money these things can cost. So I just share that with y'all.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, can I chime in, please?
Yes, please, Carrie.
I actually had a conversation with Amy, who is on the I don't know, the group. And I actually had a good conversation with her and told her that there was a good carryover, a lump sum of money into the revolving account, and that is available. And that does carry over to the next year. It is public. I have tried to explain several times, but I can give you the amount that's in there. It's over $10,000 right now. So they could utilize that funding for this fiscal year, and it would cover, and it wouldn't matter what year they pay it out of, because in a special revenue fund, it doesn't matter what year you pay the bills from.
Okay.
And Scott, if I may just follow up with Carrie. Carrie,
Please.
I don't know that you were at the last meeting, but that is exactly why I was hoping there was a way to return the $6,600 that was spent on Veterans Day to that revolving fund for use in, as you say, any fiscal year. And I don't know if there's a way, but hopefully we can think of a way and maybe do it, even if it and I hate to propose this, even if it involves UDAG funds temporarily, at least the $6,600 would be restored, which was my original intent in making the request.
I was not
Yeah.
at the following meeting, and that is not my decision to make. That would have to go in front of the other board members.
Sure.
But like I said, we carried over $17,000 in funding, and right now there is actually $14,593 that could be used for July 4th money, and that's a good substantial amount of money.
And I'm not arguing the point, Scott, excuse me. I'm not arguing the point with you, Carrie. It had $25,000 in it at one point. So, and I just share that. I'm still
I'm not
looking for
sure
a
where
way.
you ever got the $5,000 from, the
What
$25 from. I mean, that could have been previous years, but this
Yes,
expense since I've been here. And $5,000 was utilized every year for in the omnibus budget for
Right.
4th of July, and the remaining was taken out of the special revenue fund.
and again, I fully understand all of that. At one point, though, the 4th of July fund was unfunded when the fireworks were canceled, and that's all history, and I get that. My whole purpose in having the
If I
conversation
can
was
interject
to
just to kind of
Sure.
get us back on track. So
Please, yes.
to your original question, Pauline, so it definitely sounds like there is funding available for the committee or the board to use for the event on the weekend of June 24th, which is actually in FY23 to your point. We have, I believe, a total of $15,000 in the FY24 budget because we did increase that by 10, or did we just do the 10? I can't remember.
I believe it's only 10,000.
Okay, so we have
No, we-
Barbara,
$10,000.
can you confirm that?
We increased it by $10,000 for a total of 15.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So there is funds available that they can use. And if I understand correctly from what Carrie said, as long as that's sitting in a revolving fund, whether it comes from FY23 funding or FY24 funding, those funds will be available throughout the summer to pay bills out of the fund. Is that a correct conclusion, Carrie?
Scott, let me rephrase that. So
Okay.
if I understand that the event is in June, so anything that is before June and not approved before July 1st can be paid out of the special revenue fund. Anything after, I mean, obviously it's a June event, so the money that I understand what Pauline's saying is the money that is appropriated for FY24 has to be used from July 1st to June 30th of next year. So, but that money, and then it goes to, obviously, because it's in the omnibus budget, it will basically, if it's not spent, it will go back to free cash. So
Okay.
there is the special revenue fund for FY23's events that will cover the FY event in the special revenue.
Okay. And then looking at next year, if the same timing comes up where it is in June as opposed to July, the funds that we're putting in for FY 2024 will be available for that event to pay.
Correct. And like I explained to Amy, if the event is before June 30th, because it occurred in June 30th, they will be able to utilize the FY24 month funding.
Okay. Thank you, Carrie.
You're
So
welcome.
Pauline, I think we're in decent shape. If we do run into any funding issues or timing issues, we can address it in real time as we go through after the event.
I fully understand. I'm just still trying to lobby for the regular or the original intent, but I appreciate what you've done to at least make money available. I understand about revolving fund, and I'm glad that those who are doing the event are now fully aware of that as well. So thanks so much.
All right. Thank you, Pauline. And thank you, Carrie and Barbara, for your information. Okay. Anything else under new business? No? Okay. So that's the end of our normal agenda. So with second to last item is our scheduling of our next meeting. So do we still want to meet in May at some point?
Mr. Chair, I would propose we schedule a meeting in May one of the items can be sort of a review of town meeting and so forth, as we always do. Barbara and Carrie will probably have an update on ClearGov, and then we can, talk about the year ahead.
Yeah,
So
and
we
we also need to finalize financial policies too,
Yeah,
which I think we've been saying for about 6 months, 8 months now.
so do you want to, we've been doing like the second, well, actually, that's the election day, is May 9th is the election. You want to do a Tuesday, like the 16th, maybe at 2 on Zoom?
Yeah, the
I'm just-
16th works for me if it works for everyone else.
It works for me.
Okay. All right, thank you, Robert. Okay. So that's the end of our agenda for today. Anything else before we take a motion to adjourn? No? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 2:28.
I'll second.
All right, roll call the vote. Ms. Antonellis,
Aye.
Ms. Tierney,
Aye.
Ms. Cooper, Mr. Pomprian,
Aye.
and the chair says aye. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Bye.